What if I told you there once was a runner who could do it all? And yet, the world forgot him. He won on the track, in cross country, and in the marathon. He broke records, defeated legends, and challenged time itself. And one day, he vanished without a trace. How do you go from being number one on the planet to watching your name disappear from the headlines? How does someone once called the perfect athlete end up seeing his own shadow become more famous than he is? Was it his body, his mind, or simply the price of running faster than history itself? Today you're going to discover something almost no one knows. That even the greatest fall, but some, even after falling, keep running further than ever. He won everything a runner could dream of. World records, gold medals, impossible races won with a terrifying calm. When Kenenisa Bekele ran, he didn't seem human. His steps were so light the ground made no sound. His face, expressionless, painless, as if gravity didn't apply to him. Rivals said it was useless to try to follow him, because when Bekele accelerated, everyone else simply disappeared. But few ever asked what hides behind an athlete like that. No one thinks about the cost of perfection, years of solitude, training at sunrise, pain in every stride, and a mind obsessed with one word: win. From the hills of Ethiopia to the greatest stadiums on earth, his story looked written by the gods. But destiny forgives no one, not even myths. And behind the invincible runner was a man of flesh and bone, about to discover that not even he could outrun time. He was born in a small village called Bekele, in the heart of Ethiopia. No gyms, no modern tracks, no fancy shoes, just red dirt roads, thin air, and children running because it's the only way to get to school. In Bekele, you don't learn to run, you're born running. And among those children, one stood out. Not for his strength, not for his size, but for something you can't train, a dangerous kind of calm. Bekele didn't smile when he won. He didn't shout. He just ran, faster than anyone. His coach saw him and said a phrase that would become prophetic. This boy has the heart of a lion and the mind of a clock. While others dreamed of being footballers, he dreamed of the starting gun, of the wind cutting his face, of winning without ever looking back. By 19, he was a world cross-country champion. By 20, he was already rewriting the history of distance running. And the world, unknowingly, was about to witness the rise of the most dominant runner of his generation. On the track, Bekele became a machine of precision. He didn't run to win. He ran to erase any doubt that anyone could ever beat him. Athens 2004, Olympic gold in the 10,000 m. Beijing 2008, double gold in the 5,000 m and 10,000 m. No one had done that since his idol, Haile Gebrselassie. But Bekele wasn't copying anyone. He ran with a mix of ice and fire that confused everyone watching. While his rivals gasped for air, he seemed to float. His lap times were mathematical, identical, lap after lap. He was the only one who could turn suffering into art. In 2005, he broke the 10,000 m world record with 26 minutes 17 seconds. A mark that, 20 years later, still defines perfection. And when he crossed the line, he barely raised his arms. Not out of arrogance, but because for him, that was normal. Bekele was more than an athlete. He was an impossible equation. The speed of a sprinter, the endurance of a marathoner, and the mind of a Swiss watch. For almost a decade, no one could touch him. He was the silent king of athletics. And though stadiums roared his name, he never changed his expression. Because for Bekele, the finish line was never the end. It was the start of the next challenge. When he'd conquered everything on the track, Bekele felt something only true champions feel: hunger. The track had become too small. He wanted more distance, more pain, more glory. So he faced the monster, the marathon. Experts said he'd fail. Too fast for 42 kilometers, too light to survive the wall. But Bekele, true to himself, didn't answer with words, he answered with times. His debut, Paris 2014, 2 hours and 5 minutes. A dream debut for anyone else, but he didn't smile. He wasn't chasing a good run, he was chasing history. And that history arrived in Berlin 2016. 2 hours, 3 minutes, and 3 seconds. A win, one of the fastest of its time. But still not enough. Then came Berlin 2019. Bekele returned with one mission, to prove he was still the king. That day, his race was almost perfect. Short stride. Quick. Precise. The crowd screamed his name as the clock ticked mercilessly. He crossed the line in 2 hours, 1 minute, and 41 seconds. Just 2 seconds off Kipchoge's world record. 2 seconds. The world bowed to him. The man everyone had written off was back. The ruler of the track was now master of the marathon. But in the quiet after glory, something began to break. His body wasn't the same. Injuries appeared, small at first, then treacherous. That day, without knowing it, Bekele didn't just brush the world record. He brushed the limits of his own body. After Berlin, the myth began to crack. Legs that once seemed made of steel began to falter. The Achilles tendon, the knees, the back, tiny wounds that slowly dismantled the perfect machine. In the years that followed, withdrawals became common. London 2021 didn't start. Berlin 2022 didn't finish. And when fans awaited his grand comeback, it happened again. New York 2025, he stopped at kilometer 27. The crowd fell silent. The clock kept running, but he didn't. No dramatic collapse. No tears on camera. Just a legendary runner stopping, breathing deeply, and walking off without looking back. To most, that was the end. But those who knew him understood, Bekele never quit because of a bad day. What changed was his relationship with pain. Before, he controlled it. Now he listened to it. And while the world cheered new heroes, Kipchoge, Kiplimo, Cheptegei, Bekele kept training. In silence. No cameras. No crowds. Just him, the sunrise, and the echo of his own footsteps. His race was no longer against others. It was against time, against his body, against the idea that his era was over. And right there, where most would have stopped, Bekele proved again why his name still carries more weight than any record. They took away the spotlight, the headlines, the victories. But they couldn't take away what made him great, his obsession with running. Bekele kept training when no one watched. No sponsors, no press, no promises, only routine, discipline, and the sound of his own heartbeat echoing through Ethiopia's hills. He once said, "Running didn't make me famous. It made me free." He no longer competed for trophies. He ran to feel what had driven him since childhood. That sense of floating over dust, of pushing the body a little further, of winning an invisible battle against exhaustion. And even though time is no longer kind, Bekele remains the same runner who once started barefoot in Bikoji. He doesn't need to prove anything. Because true champions don't run to be seen. They run to stay themselves. His silence, his discipline, his loyalty to who he is have turned him into something far greater than titles. A symbol of endurance, of pure love for the sport, and of that simple, difficult truth. Keep going, even when no one's watching. Today, his name still echoes in every track, every training run, every runner who pushes one step further. Bekele was the bridge between two worlds, the divine era of athletics and the modern world of millions of runners. His style inspired an entire generation. Kiplimo, Cheptegei, Kajulcha, all of them grew up wanting to run like him. But what Bekele leaves behind isn't just records. It's a message carved into history. Greatness isn't about always winning. It's about never giving up. His 10,000-meter world record still stands. His marathon time still ranks among the best ever. And his legacy, stronger than any clock. He may never win another major marathon, but his shadow is present at every start line, in every runner who unknowingly carries a bit of Bekele in their stride. Because legends aren't measured by their times, but by how they inspire, long after time has passed. They say legends never die, and Bekele proves it every dawn, when he runs with no audience, no applause, no finish line waiting for him. His story isn't of a man who fell. It's of someone who refused to stop running, even when the world stopped watching. The body can surrender, records can fade, but passion, when it's real, never disappears. Bekele ran for glory, and he found it. He ran for pride, and he lost it. Now he runs for something far more powerful: love. Love for movement, for silence, for that inner fight only runners understand. His career didn't end with a medal, nor a slow-motion farewell. It ended the moment victory stopped mattering. Because in the end, the greatest triumph isn't crossing the finish line. It's having the strength to keep running when you no longer have to. Bekele didn't retire. He simply changed terrain. And as long as there's someone out there lacing up their shoes to run a little farther, his spirit will live on. Records break, medals fade, but the fire of those who love to run, that never dies. And now that you know the story of the man who challenged time, ask yourself, do you run to win or to feel alive? If this story inspired you, don't stop here. Discover now the training method the elites used to run faster without getting tired. And remember, it doesn't matter if you finish first or last. What matters is that you keep running. Always.